Hi guys, welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan if you're new here. This probably isn't the first video to start on because I normally don't make these kind of videos. I normally stick to fun like vlog type of videos, or I'm making this video because I know what it felt like for me when it first happened. I felt like there weren't that many stories about it and like people hadn't gone through it, but that's just not the case. So I kind of want to be able to be here in case any other females going through it. Here now, I am pregnant. Right now I'm 18 weeks. There's quite a bit of complications during the beginning that I kind of want to share, and kind of my whole journey to finding out I was pregnant, because it was a wild ride. I do have my iPad set up just kind of as like an outline for me to follow. It's not scripted. I am saying this on how I feel, or saying this with how I feel and everything, so it's not scripted, but just know I will be looking over here every now and then. This all started about May, June-ish time. I almost said Jewish, but I hadn't had a period for those 2 months, and this was kind of regular for me. My period was very like on and off just because of the sports that I was in and obviously symptoms of pregnancy. I'm making a whole different video on like my symptoms that I had at first, so that'll be a whole different video. I'm not going to go into that here, but there's obvious signs that girls will go through because they're like, okay, I need to take a test. So I started taking some tests. They all kept coming back negative, so I was just confused because I had no period. I had the symptoms that I was feeling, so I decided to just make a doctor's appointment to see if maybe it was something else that was going on or something, just because I hadn't had my period for 2 months. So the first doctor's appointment was July 17th, which is my regular family doctor. I went and basically told her, like, I haven't had a period yet. I would have had 3 by now. So she went ahead and tested me. The urine sample at first was negative, but it took like, I think like a minute or two, and it came back positive. But she didn't want to fully trust that because obviously you can get false positives and stuff. So we went ahead and did a blood sample the same day. And then a few days later, the blood test did come back positive. So that was good news. So we scheduled for an OBGYN. Now the thing is, I didn't go through where I regularly see my doctor. I went through a whole different hospital setup, basically, because I had moved away from the other one, so it just made sense to have the one closer. That test was on August 17th. That day I do have written down because I had to go back and check. The OBGYN we saw was not helpful at all. When we first walked in, or when she first walked in, because obviously you talk to the nurse and everything, and first off, what showed up as a red flag is she was doing it on like a note, like a piece of paper she had teared up. Like normally doctors have like this full thing, and then she kept trying to think of the questions she was supposed to ask me. She didn't just know them. So I was kind of like, shouldn't these be prepared? Shouldn't these be questions that you regularly ask when people come in? The doctor came in and she looked at me. The first thing she said to me was, "Why are you here?" Your nurse just took down how much notes about why I'm here? But then I explained it to her, and she told me that my urine test came back negative. And I said, how? I'm over a month pregnant now. And she didn't explain anything. She did not give me any possible reasons why. She did not make it feel as if it wasn't my fault, because come to find out it wasn't my fault. There's nothing I could have done. But basically she was like telling me during, like, we set you up for blood tests, and then like once your levels reach this high, we'll get you an ultrasound to move further. And that was it. She wasn't explaining anything. I felt so uncomfortable. So like, what did I do? Like, for a while there I was blaming myself, and that was the wrong thing to do. That same day we took a blood test. A day later came back positive, so she said just come in and the next week and we'll see where your levels are. So we did that. We did the ultrasound. We did 2 of them, but it wasn't like a regular ultrasound. It was through the hospital, not like the OBGYN area. It was weird, and they didn't tell you anything. There was no like how far along I am or anything like that. Later down the road, I think it was like a day or 2 after I had gotten my last ultrasound through just like the hospital, I got really bad cramping. And of course I'm gonna worry because who knows what. I did not have any bleeding or anything, but I had really bad cramping. So first, before just going to the ER, we had called them. I'd called the office and I was like, my name is so-and-so, I'm having some bad cramping. And she did not know who I was. She did not remember me, and I was there like 2 days ago. And I get it, like doctors have a lot of patience and they're like, it's hard to remember everybody, but she literally could not remember confirming that I was pregnant, like at all. And she clearly could have just looked up the records, and she wasn't even doing that. So she was not trying to be helpful. Sitting here in a panic thinking, do I need to go to the ER? Is this something to be concerned about? Like, what do I do? I ended up hanging up on her because she kept asking me over and over, how do you know you're pregnant? How are you sure? Did you really come to my office? And I was like, okay, I'm getting nowhere. She's not hearing my concern. We went ahead and went to the ER. I believe we went the next morning though. We went to the ER. They basically said, you're okay. Cramping is obviously normal. But they understood like why I was worried, obviously. But they said, unless there's bleeding, like, don't be too concerned. After that, we had another doctor's appointment scheduled, and I did not get the date, so I don't remember when it was. It was in October. Basically, I had called them, and I had forgotten the time, which I needed to tell my fiance so he could tell work and everything. But I called them, I said, can I change doctors? And I explained to them everything. And apparently, those doctors had this complaint before, that she's not helpful, she doesn't inform, any of that. They're like, yeah, we can change, and luckily we were able to. You know, I told them everything. It was a male doctor that I had. Basically, I told him, was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what it is, but with the timeline of how far I am along now and to that first pregnancy test, I don't think I ever lost a pregnancy with how it lines up. For me, it was weird because it wasn't like a full-on miscarriage. I had no bleeding. Like, I had no bleeding and I didn't have bad cramping until after the negative pregnancy test. So it didn't make sense to me. I still am kind of up in the air. Technically happened on how I had a positive and then a negative because it was never really answered. But the doctor that I'm with now is very helpful and stuff like that. In that same appointment with a new doctor, we actually got to see our first ultrasound, which was so cool. The baby was moving around so much. And then November 22nd was our last appointment, and we got to hear the heartbeat, which was super cool. The heartbeat was really fast. December 13th, we actually find the gender out. We are going to do a reveal. It's going to be on the same day just because my dad's going to be here because our wedding is actually on the 10th of December. I know, a lot happening. But I want to make this video just in case anybody else kind of experiences what I did and wants to talk about it or just relate, I guess, in a way. Obviously, not everybody's going to go exactly what I went through. Just know you're not alone and it's not your fault. That was the biggest thing I didn't fully understand. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy these kind of videos, and I should do more kind of talk down videos. I know it's kind of straight to the point, just saying everything, but I figured that was the best way to do it. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. Bye.